Welcome everyone on the panel and those joining us from around the globe for the Global Student Chat. Today, we're yet again back with another tweet and talk on the topic motivation and goal setting. First of all, let me give you an overview of the Global Student Chat. Global Student Chat is a student led chat that connects K 12 students worldwide to discuss topics and questions related to character education, social justice, and citizenship. It creates opportunities for students to network with others, gain perspective, build relationships with new learning partners in literacy rich learning environment. Experience social media as a powerful tool and platform for learning and establish a positive digital footprint. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, Samantha, can you tell us a little bit about the back channels so that everybody watching us live can get involved with the conversation?
Of course. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you may sign in with a Google account and chat to comment or ask a question. If you're watching with your class, your teacher can comment in your first name or initials. If you X, formerly Twitter, follow the hashtag Global Student Chat to read the ideas, thoughts, and questions shared by others. We will use the question and answer one format. You can also participate on our Instagram by responding to the posts. Participate use hashtag chat, add your thinking, and involved in the conversation. Feel free to share your first name and where in the world you're joining from today. If you ask questions, we will bring them to the panel. Please remember that the audience for this chat is K-12, so your comments and questions should be appropriate for.
Well, I guess they glitched out. They might be having some technical issues. If you're asking questions, we'll bring them to the panel here. Please remember that the audience for this chat is K-12, so your comments and questions should be appropriate for all ages. Well, I'm really glad to welcome our expert panelists for today. How are you doing today, Mr. Ante? I guess you're on mute.
I'm doing great now that I'm not on mute. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, let's have a round of introductions before we begin. Hi, I'm Namya Joshi. I'm a grade 11 student studying at Satpal Middle School in India, and this is my third year at the Global Student Chat. Really excited for today's student talk. So, Clara, why don't you go next?
Hi, I'm Clara. I'm from Ringo, Alaska.
All right, thank you. Let's go through the norms once. You will have 30 minutes to discuss three questions. Please be mindful that this chat is open to students in K to 12. Active participation from all classes is how we learn. All comments made during the chat should be positive and productive. We welcome diverse opinions. You may not agree with something someone had said, but we ask that when challenging an idea, that you respectfully disagree with the idea, not the individual person. Being respectful online includes using language that is inclusive and culturally appropriate. Since we're all good to go, let's start with the first question. That is, what is your motivation to get out of bed every morning? Has this changed over time? Well, if I talk about myself, I think everyone in the world has a special motive for getting out of bed every morning. And whether it's to fulfill tasks or attain goals. For me, it has evolved since I've read this book called Ikigai. This is the Japanese secret to living a happy life and also reason to get up every morning. And it includes four parameters. The first one is what you love, also known as your passion. This involves identifying and engaging in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. It's about doing things that resonate with your heart and make you genuinely happy. The second one is what you're good at, also your vocation. This aspect is about recognizing and cultivating your skills, talents, and strengths. It involves understanding what you excel at and finding, ways to apply those abilities in your daily life. The third one is what the world needs, your mission, identifying the needs of the world around you and finding a way to positively contribute to the worldly affairs. And this most importantly emphasizes the idea that your life gains deeper meaning when you're making a positive impact on others around the world. The last one, and the fourth one, is what you can be paid for. That's your profession. This particularly involves identifying activities that I believe not only align with our passion, skills, and sense of purpose, but also provide a means of financial support. It could be about, finding a practical and sustainable way to support yourself while pursuing your passions. So, this technique has provided me with a sense of purpose, which further increases my motivation to start the day on a fresh note, get maximum tasks accomplished to feel productive, follow my hobbies, and take small steps every day to reach my goal. So, I've also read this quote that says that in pursuit of Ikigai, every sunrise becomes an opportunity to align your passions, strengths, contributions, earnings to create a meaningful and fulfilling life. So this would be like my reason to get out of bed every morning, and it has changed over time because of all the insights I gained from reading this book.
That's really inspirational. It's really well said. Mine's more basic. I'm going to be completely honest. My motivation to get out of bed is probably school and the responsibilities that I have to do at school. This has changed over time because beforehand, school was just something that I was mandatory I had to do, but now it's more like I have to go to school, I have to do tests, I have to go to school, I have to do homework, I have to do assignments and everything else.
Yeah, for me, my main reason to get out of bed is honestly my goals. I have a lot of goals and aspirations set for myself. I want to go to a certain university. I want to have certain grades to get into those universities. I want to have a certain amount of money at a certain amount of time to be able to retire my parents, some goals like that. And I need to go to schools to achieve those goals and get good grades because that's the benchmark for getting into a good university, in my opinion. So I need to do that to set myself up for the future. I think this has definitely changed over time, though, because, when I was younger, I was kind of forced to wake up and go to school by my parents because I didn't think about, my future and my goals and aspirations as much as now. And it was also kind of the norm to, get out of bed at this time, go to school at this time. All my friends were doing it. All my, schoolmates were doing it. So it would be like a responsibility, like a task for me. But now, if I'm having a tough day and I just want to stay in bed, my parents will let me stay at home because they know that I care about my goals so much that I would only stay at home if I really need to. So now I'm more self-motivated, whereas in the past it was kind of like a task to get out of bed every morning.
My motivation to get up in the morning is to see my mom before she goes to work every morning at 7, and to go to school.
I think one of the interesting things is something that you all touched on is this idea of what is important to you. Motivation for me looks a lot like looking toward the future. Like my reason for getting up in the morning has everything to do with building on something that I already have. So I have 4 children. So a lot of times my motivation is one, I have to get up and get them to school so that I can get my work done. But when we talk about and Namya, you touched on a lot of really interesting components related to the book that you read, and I would love to read that book. But one of the things that you said was a sense of purpose, and I think having a sense of purpose and specifically having a plan. And I know that Kabir, you discussed this idea of looking forward to your future and how your actions today impact your future tomorrow. And one of the things that I do at nighttime is plan what my goal for the next day is, because that's the reason to get out of bed. That's why, like, having that plan is how I know what I'm going to be doing moving forward and helping me move through the day.
That's actually a really great insight because when you're having something in mind of what you're going to do next day, then you'll get out of bed like with more motivation and having a more strategic mindset as well to it as well. So the second question that we have for today is where do you see yourself in 5 years? What strategies could you use to help achieve your goals? For me, I aspire fantastic grades and get admission to my dream university, pursuing graduation and masters in gaming and AI, and like further mastering it by doing more research work, and ultimately establishing my own startup along with working for the UN. Um, but for achieving all these things, I have been focusing upon a few strategies that I believe are helping me and will help me in the future if I keep on continuing in the same way. So, first of all, is like writing down my goals, pasting them on my wall in my room so that I can see them every day. And what can be a better motivation than you just waking up and seeing that you have to achieve a particular goal? Secondly, it's not just having a goal in mind. We need to keep milestones as well as timelines so that we know that in this particular time we have to work hard so that the main goal can be achieved. Thirdly, I would always plan and devise time. So I write my checklist every day and I strike off my tasks to feel more productive. That yes, I have done a particular amount of work that was important for me, as well as I follow techniques like Pomodoro while studying. So that's like if you're studying for 25 minutes, you take a 5 minutes break, and then again the process keeps on continuing. And most importantly, having a clean work environment, study environment is very important so you can focus.
No, those are really good strategies. For me, in 5 years, I would ideally want to see myself in one of my top choice universities. It would be my third, fourth year, so I would be planning ahead, maybe thinking about buying a property or thinking about getting into a master's degree, specifically for engineering, because that's what I'm interested in. And some strategies I have, that are really important that can help me get there are focusing now. I think that's a really big one because a lot of people think I only have to focus in grade 12, but that's when my grades matter the most. And that's true. Your grades matter the most in grade 11 and grade 12 to get into your best university. But the work ethic you get from working hard from grade 9 to 12, even in elementary school, is going to stay with you in university. And you're going to keep working hard in university. And university is a really heavy time. So you need that solid work ethic. And something else, a good strategy is planning ahead. You may not know exactly what you're going to do in the future, exactly what you want to be, exactly where you want to live, but having a little outline of what you want to do will help you make your goals more accurate to what your interests are, and that'll propel you to work harder towards your goals.
I completely agree. And you touched on something as well, like having a checklist to check off what you want to do. I feel so accomplished when I finally get to put that check mark. And that motivates me to do the next day. Also, in 5 years, I do see myself in university, hopefully my fourth year. I really love math, so I'd love to probably get my master's doing something with that. I found a study method that really works for me. It's similar to what Namia said, like study for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, study for 30 minutes, take a 10-minute break, like that. I think having a good work ethic is really important for this in achieving my goal. As well, I see myself being surrounded by people that I love and enjoy spending time with. There's this saying or quote that I kind of follow. It goes, the company you keep is a reflection of who you are. I tend to surround myself by like-minded people, and if I continue doing this, I see my goals being met.
Yeah, in 5 years, I see myself getting ready to go to college and getting good grades in 12th grade.
I just want to say, first of all, this chat's incredible, and you guys are going to take over the world. I love to see super motivated individuals that are so young, because it took me a very long time to learn how to motivate myself. It took me a very long time to learn how to study. It took me a very long time to learn how um, to look forward to the future and set like hefty goals like that. uh, One of the ways that I, in my personal life and my professional life, set goals is I use a planner and I plan everything out. I block out time for everything, self care, working out. I block time for writing. I block time for the business side of writing. I block time for spending time with my kids, because I think that having and seeing a balance like that is important. Um, I journal a lot as well. I think about what my goals are, and I think about um, the intention of those goals and why I'm doing that, uh, so that I can make sure that the goals that I am setting are worth my time. When you have a lot going on, and it sounds like all of you do, it is so important to make sure that you not only carve time out for those goals, but also for yourself, and also to see the big picture. Like, uh, Namya, you mentioned like a roadmap, I think. Having a roadmap, like I love thinking big picture, right? So if I think I would like to write a book this year, obviously a book is a hefty goal. That's like lots of words. But if I break that down into smaller chunks, like I want to write a chapter a day, like I want to edit this, having that helps me not get so overwhelmed with the idea of this big thing, right? And then checking off those little things as we go is just so fun. And then I know that um, Samantha and Kabir, you guys discussed both like studying habits and like figuring those out. I think when you are younger, when the homework load is not as heavy, learning what your learning style is, learning what your study habits look like, learning what helps you in that environment is much easier than trying to figure it out when you are in high school or when you're in college. And so, yes, I'm going to agree with you guys. Um, while grades are not as important, it is important to learn those and establish those things earlier.
Truly, I absolutely agree with you. Setting realistic goals is very important. Like you gave an example of writing a book, it cannot be formulated in one day. It needs to have proper planning, writing down how many chapters you would complete per day, getting the idea right, and then executing it when everything is ready. So, absolutely. Um, Moving on to the third question is how might one's motivation deplete? Is it more difficult to lose motivation or gain it? I think of all the reasons responsible for why one might be lacking in motivation is either we don't know what we want or there's a lack of clarity about what we want exactly. Another common factor is fear because we may be afraid to try because of the what ifs. And in addition to this, I'd say societal judgments or biases, or even sometimes an unsupportive environment may refrain us from beginning something that could change the layout of our lives completely. Like you were talking about setting realistic goals as well. I think even burnout can lead to lack of motivation when you're working just too hard and not giving time for your self-care. But what I have seen is quite common is a lot of procrastination, as human beings just tend to take the elevator to success and not the stairs, as the quote goes. Whereas to achieve any goal or milestone, one needs to work diligently and most importantly, focus on every single detail that you're not missing out on anything. And when it comes to losing or gaining motivation, which one is more difficult? I'd like to give an example here, although it is not about the topic at all, and there's no relation here, but I believe it justifies itself. That trust takes years to build, seconds to break, and forever to repair. Similarly, it may be hard to build motivation once it fades away. But then again, with the strong mindset and steady goals, I think anything is possible. So if I be like, I give an example, like what I do is when I tend to lose motivation on the bridge of it, is I remind myself about why I began the roller coaster journey to achieve goals in my life. Then either I can fall off the ride or I can finish it graciously. It's again up to me. So not losing motivation is one step towards, leading to success, I believe.
I agree, yeah, that's a great point. I think one's motivation could deplete when someone sets their mind to something and it doesn't necessarily go the way they wanted it to, or this people if they set a goal that was impossible to accomplish. But I think I think it's also more difficult to gain motivation because life comes with many obstacles, which can deter people from setting goals. I also have an example from basketball, from the first part. If sometimes I'm trying to learn a move and it doesn't work, so I demotivate myself, and it's like, okay, if I can't get this now, I'm not going to get it in the end, so I quit. So that could also deter someone.
No, I agree. I think there's a lot of examples in our own life when motivation can deplete a lot faster than we can gain motivation. But I think there's a lot of reasons for depleting motivation. There's burnout. If you work really hard for a long period of time, you're going to get burnt out. You're going to get tired of working so hard. You have lack of progress. A lot of the time you're working so hard and you don't see progress, or maybe there is progress, but it's not the same progress you wanted, which will also demotivate you. There's external criticism, lack of support. So if you don't have family support, friend support, people are critiquing you, bringing you down. That's really hard to work through most of the time. And I think a big one is unrealistic goals. A lot of people don't set small benchmark goals, which can motivate you even more. They set really high achieving goals. And when you don't achieve that, even after a long period of time, you lose all motivation, which is why I think it's a lot easier to lose motivation than gain motivation, because it's so much easier to do nothing and be unmotivated and not have people, helping you, rather than getting the support you need, working the way you need, getting the help you need to be motivated and achieve your goals.
That is a good reason. I think that one motivation can be depleted by loss of excitement or hope in the goal that they're trying to set. And I think it's way easier to lose motivation than to gain it, because I don't know. It's easier to bring yourself down than it is to build yourself up.
So I have two things to add. One, when you have a goal, it is oftentimes something that you have to motivate for yourself. So for example, in book writing, no one is going to sit at my desk and tell me, Dante, you need to write a book today. That it just doesn't happen. You have to decide and choose that, and you have to make time, and you have to invest time in what you want to be able to do to make that goal happen. Another thing is, when we're talking about lack of motivation, I think oftentimes, and something that wasn't touched on, is comparison. When we are looking at ourselves versus looking at other people, it's very easy to look over at someone else and say, wow, I really want what they have. They're doing X, Y, Z. I want that. That for me is a killer of motivation. It's a killer of creativity. It's a killer of motivation. It's a killer of productivity, because it makes me feel not great. So I would urge all of you to make sure that you keep your eyes on your own paper in regards to your goals, because at the end of the day, the only person you're accountable for with your goals is yourself.
Absolutely, we should be satisfied with what we have. And of course, like focusing upon our goals rather than overlooking at somebody else's and then spoiling our own goals as well in the end. Um, I think we'll move on to our last question is, what is something you want to do but you haven't tried? What is stopping you and why? Well, my answer can be a little bit funny, is that I've always wanted to learn how to do cycling, but I still haven't tried without the supporters. And what's stopping me is because I've never actually able to get time, um, besides the schoolwork and the project works, to ever learn how to do cycling. And I've always dreamt about cycling in the hills and enjoying with my friends, over across the lake. But yeah, again, I'm just gonna give myself motivation that as soon as I pass grade 11, I'm gonna learn how to do cycling, because of course it's good for your health. And then again, cycling in the morning with the fresh air hitting you, it's a really good feeling, is what I've heard.
No, I get that, Namya. I'm also from India, and my parents grew up in India. So even though it seems like something small for us, as we know biking from a young age, my mom didn't learn biking until she came to Canada 20 years ago. So her entire first 28 years of life, she didn't know biking. And, you still want to achieve that goal, even if it seems like a small thing to others, which is why it's important, like Dante said, not to compare yourself to others who may already have that goal. But for me, something that I want to try that I haven't been able to try is starting my own small business. Even it doesn't have to be my own business, but it can be something like, affiliate marketing, drop shipping, something in the business world. Even though I don't want to go into business for a profession, I want to go into engineering. I think business teaches you so much about everything. I mean, there's business involved in all professions, and it gives you so much social skills, and you learn how to work online. You learn how to, make income from home, because a lot of drop shipping and affiliate marketing happens through your computer. So I want to do that for a long time. And I also think that it doesn't take as much time as, other professions that you want to start from a young age. However, it still does take a good amount of time unless you put a lot of money into it. So something that's been stopping me from achieving this goal is the fact that I don't want to invest a lot of capital into it until I have enough experience. And the only way to get that experience is putting a lot of time and effort into it, which I don't have at the moment, because school comes first and grades come first. So hopefully, when school dies down a little bit, I'll be able to start that goal of mine.
Mine's very different from his. Something that I've wanted to do but haven't gotten a chance to is go on daily walks. I like what we've been saying, to go set benchmarks. Maybe I can do once a week, and then go twice a week and 3 times a week. I feel like the main obstacle that I've tried to overcome is procrastination. I always find myself making excuses like, oh, I have homework, or oh, I should be practicing basketball or working out or doing something else. I think I come up with these excuses because after school I feel so drained. I think it's hard for me to register that if I force myself to go on a walk, I would regain energy and I'd end up enjoying that time.
That's a good point.
One thing that I've wanted to do but never tried is I really want to learn how to play guitar, but I've just never had the time to do it. But yeah.
I really love hearing about things that people want to do that they haven't done yet, because there's something very scary about putting yourself outside your comfort zone. Um, and even if it's something like, okay, I want to go for a walk every day. That's something that it's time that you're investing in yourself. And I would urge you to put that as a priority. Like, if that is something that's important to you, like, make that a priority, because at the end of the day, goals are great. Listen, don't get me wrong. Nothing feels like um, meeting this hefty goal that you have. But there is also this aspect of yourself that you have to continue to take care of. It is interesting to hear the different types of motivations for different, like, desires, right? Like, what you want to do. And I'm thinking about this, and I was thinking about it after I got these questions. Like, what is something that I want to do that I haven't? And at this point in my life, I feel like I've done a lot of things that I want to do. This last year, I had wanted to write a play. I've never written a play before, so I wrote a play, and it ended up getting accepted into the Valdez Theater Conference. And it really did change the trajectory of some of my writing, and I feel a lot better for it. And it was something that I did on a whim, that I was like, oh, I'll take this playwriting class. So follow those, because you never know what opportunities this little whim that you will have on your life, and impact on your, even if on a professional level, what it will do for you.
Absolutely, grabbing opportunities is very important. And it was like lovely listening to different thoughts and diverse thoughts of everybody today. And to sum it up, I just have a short poem that I had written about motivation. So I'll just speak out the last four lines: that in dawn's embrace, a spark ignites, motivation whispers, scales new heights. Against life's tides, a resilient sea, dreams unfurl, boundless and free. So, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And a special thanks to our guest on panel today, Ms. Dante Medingma. And moving forward, I'd like to give you some insight about the Social Media Ambassador Program. Are you a digital leader or want to become one? Global Student Chat is always seeking student social media ambassadors. This information can be found on globaledsschat.com. And we're always looking for students who excel or are looking to grow their digital leadership skills. Please keep the conversation going by answering our slow chat for the rest of the month. Be sure to use the hashtag Global Student Chat so our team can interact with you. Please follow us and connect with us on social media. The website, globaledsschat.com, X, Twitter, at the Global Student Chat, Instagram, at the Global Student Chat. All of our live chats are available on our YouTube channel. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you on the next month of the Tweet and Talk on Feb 13th, 2024. Till then, thank you. See
Thank
you.
you
so
guys.
much.